Today is his biggest match later on in the day, 10-2 against C. McHugh. So we're going to
McHugh.
see if they're both still undefeated when we get there, who the top dog really is.
That's going to be an interesting match, and Will and I were both talking before, and they were asking us.
Slayer
in the jungle arena. And once again, we see that's a really risky play. Opening with an Elixir Collector, I mean, we don't know the other 4 cards, the other 3 cards in his hands are, but depending on what happens, that could be a really bad, really punishing play. Because here we go, we've got Giant Night Witch coming in, and now you've got to stop a huge push, and you're down a lot of Elixir.
Yeah, defensive poison. The Goblin Gang's going to come down to keep the Night Witch into the poison.
Oh, nice!
I think that was probably the best way Godslayer could have defended that.
I think so too. I mean, if you only take 400 damage and you get your pump out, and the pump didn't take any damage, I'm happy with that exchange, for sure.
Yep.
If you can see right now, they're about even on Elixir, too, which actually favors Godslayer, because he's got another one, like 4 pumps of Elixir hanging out of him.
Yeah, the Bandit's going to get a charge shot on the tower. Minions will come down to clean it up, and not before the Bandit gets another 2 hits, and the Lava Hound is going to be coming down the right-hand lane, and Inferno Dragon coming out from CMC.
Cryface comes out of Godslayer. He knows he's got a challenging match. Is he going to lightning it? Oh, he's going for the
Graveyard!
It's going to distract it! No, it doesn't! No! He was hoping for a skeleton to turn it around and keep the Inferno Dragon, busy, basically. Didn't quite work out that way. And a defensive poison by McHugh.
Defensive poison from CMC, and this Inferno Dragon just barely falls to the Mega Minion. That could have been a pretty devastating push, but Tombstone should clean up this Giant without a problem. Unless CMC has a zap or log, no, he's going to let it go.
Well played comes out of McHugh. He's respecting that defense. He's like, you got me there. You took the, because you're right, if that low health Inferno Dragon had survived, that would have been really scary behind the Giant. A lone, unsupported Giant, not too threatening.
Yep, pump goes down. Oh, great log right there from CMC. The Crying Face comes out. The Bandit's going to charge onto the tower. Zap will come out, so the Bandit gets another shot. 672 now on that left-hand side with 10 seconds before double Elixir.
What separates good players from very elite players is the ability to read your opponent's patterns and adapt. McHugh had dropped the Bandit about a minute ago, hit the tower, and then this time he goes, all right, I'm going to play that Bandit. I know my opponent has Goblin Gang. I know he's going to play it. Have the log ready. Those prediction logs are the sort of skills that I think 3-4 years from now, you're going to have to be that good at the game in order to.
Yeah, the Giant's going to be slow rolling here. Here comes the Inferno Dragon to counter the Lava Loon. That Goblin Gang is going to come down once again in a very well-placed poison by CMC.
Takes out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, everything Godslayer had was in that poison spell. And now the Inferno Dragon's rolling down the left-hand lane.
And even Godslayer, though, still does have a little bit of an Elixir advantage. That Inferno Dragon's going to go down, but how much damage is it going to do? Is it going to heat up a little bit? No.
No, doesn't heat up at all. I think, what does it take, 4 seconds for the Inferno Dragon to heat up?
Yeah, it takes a little bit. This is actually, I think, a situation that normally favors the Lava Loon player, but McHugh is getting so many great exchanges.
The Graveyard's going to come in, a defensive poison coming down from CMC, and this is looking like it is going to be a good game well played right here. CMC was ready for Godslayer's Lava Loon with that Inferno Dragon, and Godslayer just couldn't distract the Inferno Dragon enough, and the Inferno Dragon was able to take that Lava Hound down, no problem, every single time.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of key plays. Here's the thing, I don't think Godslayer's strategy was bad. I think where McHugh took that game was actually in the tactics, in the placement, in the exact. There were situations
so well, and he was able to cycle back to it when he needed it on that offensive push.
And because McHugh is such a faster cycle deck than Godslayer's kind of slower Lava Hound deck, he was able to poison not just the Graveyard, but then cycle back and poison again on defense if needed.
Yeah, Hog Rider coming out here from Godslayer. I don't think we've seen Hog Rider from Godslayer.
No, he's mixing it up. He's really only played 2 different deck archetypes this entire tournament, but he's done a lot of variety with his Lava Hound decks.
And CMC coming out with the Lava Hound here. You think he... Oh, Godslayer with the Executioner.
And a smile on his face and a little antsy fingers. So here's the thing he's got to be worried about. He's got to be worried about a Lightning, which is usually pretty common in these sort of decks. But if he can use the Executioner Tornado and keep the Lava Hound and other stuff off his tower, he's going to do really well.
Oh, Night Witch Balloon going on the opposite lane here. Lightning's going to come out from Godslayer, and the Balloon is probably going to make it. Oh, the Tornado comes down. Perfect timing right there.
Yeah, you see the Executioner, you know there's a Tornado. Now, that's a pretty full health Executioner coming back, and he puts something in front. Is there a minor battle ram? No, it looks like it's just going to be a lone Executioner making the push.
I think he's just going to let that go, and the Executioner will deal enough damage to the Mega Minion, so Godslayer won't have to do anything about that. He'll be able to build up Elixir and get ready for his next push.
Minute 40 left on the clock, and we have a very even game. Both towers, look at that. We talked about how McHugh's good at predicting his opponents. He's also good at not falling for it. He knew that Godslayer was expecting a Goblin Gang, played minions instead so that he didn't get logged. God, McHugh is next level.
That is... I'm speechless about
Yeah,
that. He's
right?
just like he's.
How do you make those calls? You know? So here's the thing. We haven't actually seen a lightning yet out of McHugh's deck. It's possible he has it, but I haven't yet seen an answer for this Executioner unless his whole plan is to split push.
Yeah, and here he comes with the split push. Balloon going down that left-hand lane. Knight's going to come down for the rest of the Goblin gang. And Godslayer's going to have to tornado this Balloon away, otherwise he's going to take some damage. One hit comes down. He's going to tornado into the King Tower.
That's something you can certainly works. And there's a Fireball. Takes a good value Fireball from McHugh on defense. Takes out Knight, Goblins, and Hog Rider.
Yeah, it was great value on that Fireball. And the Ice Spirit was able to clean up those minions, no problem. So Godslayer's towers are at even health. McHugh's about to build up another Lava Loon push. Here comes that Knight, Hog Rider on that left-hand side.
The Log come down.
Log is going to come down. It predicts the Goblin gang, and the Hog is going to get 2 swings on the tower, but that Knight is going to get cleaned up by the bats.
Don't write off Godslayer yet, buddy. He's got a damage lead on McHugh now, and another Execution comes out, and he's got the Tornado to pair it with.
Yeah, Godslayer has to use the Tornado now, and there it is. It's going to come out, and let's see if Godslayer might have the Lightning, otherwise his Balloon is going to connect. There's the Lightning coming down. The Fireball is going to come out, and it's going to do a decent bit of damage to the Executioner, but not before the Lava Pups fall. And this is looking very much in favor of Godslayer. Let's see if he can pull this out.
Yeah, actually, great Fireball there by McHugh because it did damage to the tower and prevented any sort of counterattack from coming through. Another, oh, that's a satisfying Executioner right there. Now, can he use the Tornado to pull it away? I'm sure he can. He can definitely pull it together with... No, he missed the Balloon! And that's the game. Oh, no!
Oh, the Balloon didn't get a drop-off. Wow.
I don't even know how that happened.
The zap. Here comes the Hog Rider. Goblins. Minions are going to come down to destroy the Hog Rider.
Does he have a lightning? He does have a Lightning. He has a Lightning! Hit him with the Lightning to win!
Does he have it in rotation, though?
He's got to save up. He just used it on the defense, so he's trying to cycle back to it. He's got 3, 1...
And Godslayer gets the Lightning!
Hey, if I'm Godslayer, I'm thrilled, buddy. We got 1 game between me and McHugh, and if Godslayer can win that match and give McHugh his 2nd loss of the tournament, that would be huge for Godslayer.
That would be absolutely huge.
Spectators are jumping in. Now remember, you can be friends with people in Clash Royale, and if you're friends, you can watch these players live. We have over 30, and it's going up by the minute. Players trying to
sticking
get
to the Hog. CMC opts to rocket the Hog Rider, so he takes no damage.
-2 Elixir trade, but no damage, so I think he's just taking that. Godslayer has a huge Elixir lead right now. Let's see if he can do something with it, you know, in the next couple of minutes. I mean, because the longer you go on, it'll even out eventually.
Yeah, so the Knight, Godslayer might be building up a push. Princess in the back from CMC. I think CMC might be running log bait.
Yeah. So far, every card we've seen is consistent with the log bait deck that he ran in the second week of play. Did it really well, didn't lose a game with it.
Yep, here comes the Goblin. I'm curious to see if we'll see bats in this deck.
It's a good point. If we're ever going to see bats, it seems like one. I'm actually really shocked we haven't seen that card at all. I wonder if the players, just because of a lack of playtesting and uncertainty, have decided to hold off on it.
Yeah, they might, oh, great Tornado right there from Godslayer. The Hog is going to connect to the tower for almost 3 hits. I don't think if that Knight came back, the Hog Rider would have got 3 hits.
No. Yeah, absolutely. I think. Oh, great log there by McHugh. Predicted that Goblins were going to come down to stop it. Gets the even Elixir trade plus some damage and gets an extra shot on Jep's Princess. Log is still in play for Godslayer. Comes down, cleans it out. But we might be seeing out of McHugh later some wacky Goblin barrels.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. CMC, he knows exactly where to play the Goblin barrel to throw off his opponent, especially when it's in double Elixir and he can keep the pressure up, because then your opponent's just like, I need to throw this log down, I see a Goblin barrel, and then defend everything else that's coming. And so if CMC can keep up the pressure, that might be in his favor for the barrels later on in the game.
I think if I'm Godslayer, I want to play really aggressive here. McHugh is looking to play a very defensive game, not take like any damage on his tower if possible, and basically win with a rocket right as overtime clicks. That's his strategy. That's what he wants to happen. Now, if you're Godslayer, that means you want to play to a 2-tower game. You know what I mean? Like, you want 1 tower to go down on each side and try to force him to have to rocket a whole 2nd tower, which is likely not good for him.
Yeah, the log is going to come out onto the Princess this time.
Dangerous Goblin barrel time.
Here comes the Hog. Log is going to knock back the Hog Rider, but the Hog Rider should be able to get to the tower here and connect for 2 hits, and it does. The Goblin Barrel comes out, takes 1 stab.
Pretty good. The Goblins on defense are good there because it's much harder to hit them with a log. If you know that you're going to want to use your log on offense to get your Hog Riders through, you got to figure out then what am I going to do about the Goblin Barrel that comes in right after. And I think 2 Elixir Goblin's a great solution.
Yeah, I think Godslayer is playing his Executioner very smart. He knows CMC has the rocket, so he's not. Godslayer's not playing his Executioner close to the tower to give CMC rocket value.
Very good point. Now, McHugh is low on Elixir right now because he put a lot into that Inferno Tower, but he's also bought himself, what, 20, 30 seconds of defense? That Inferno Tower is hardly taking any damage.
Yeah, here comes another Goblin Barrel, but I think Godslayer's gonna, no, yep, now the lock comes out. A little bit too late. I don't think he had it in rotation though.
This is so minor, but did you see that Ice Spirit that McHugh played? Timed it perfectly to run through one half of the Executioner shot, but not the other one, and then jumped on the Executioner. Like that, when we talk about like absurd mechanical play, that's what we're talking about. Look at this double Princess, is still shooting.
Yeah, Executioner's gonna clean it up though, and the Ice Spirit's gonna come down once again, and Godslayer's still taking some damage. I think if he's gonna be playing the Ice Spirit to defend that Goblin Barrel, I kind of think it's a waste to play that log. He should just save it because he knows CMC is going to cycle so fast.
Yeah. With a log and a tornado, though, he has so many tools. You know what I'm surprised he hasn't done once? Is tornado the Goblin Barrel to the King Tower. But he's been using it on offense to pull things away, or he's been using it with the Executioner. He hasn't really, you know, there's so many targets in McHugh's deck for all of your spells that it's hard to be like, let me save this specific one for this specific situation.
Yeah, so here comes a Princess Goblin Gang. Goblin Barrel pushed down the right-hand side. There's a Trick Barrel we were talking about. He's going to tornado everything to the tower.
Ouch, he says. He says, oops, and I think
and
he knew. The rocket finishes off. Hey, great play by Godslayer. McHugh takes the match. A lot of damage done to McHugh's towers on either side. I think, you know, given that's one of McHugh's stronger decks, he's never lost with the log bait deck in this CCGS tournament. I thought he played admirably. I mean, that's probably it for Godslayer in the Crown Championship. I think he is mathematically eliminated.
Yeah.
After
look at the game-winning play right here, where Godslayer plays an unfortunate tornado and just pulls everything to his Crown Tower.
Did he think that was a close barrel instead of a far barrel? Like, what I was trying to think in my head is maybe what he thought that was right there was a Goblin Barrel being thrown in front of the tower instead of behind.
2 matches in, 8 left to go. These players still have a lot of room to solidify themselves, but remember, this is the final week. By the end of today, we will know exactly who sits where on this ladder. Right now, Unstoppable is looking really in a tight spot. He's 0-4. He still has 3 games left, so he can potentially pull himself out. And Oxlet posturing himself to potentially be top 2. And remember, these players are playing for a $1 million prize pool. There's so much on the line for these guys, and they have to understand what their potential could be.
I'm kind of sad. Unstoppable losing that game.
Yeah.
Unstoppable, super stoppable.
He's very, very stoppable.
Gosh, look at that. First place is $15,000.
Yeah, there's so much money on the line. At least Unstoppable is.
Round robin was for the 15,000, so I was like, yes.
You're like,
No. I already got 15,000.
And for those of you that don't recognize that voice, we have here the legend himself, the undefeated Tin